there, welcome to It's Always Sunny in Hollywood. I am one of your hosts, Red Drumarts.
I am Lugia, and I watch movies for a passion, maybe.
I am Patrick, and I too also watch movies, maybe for a passion, as well as other things that are irrelevant to this podcast.
Yep, so today's episode we're going to be talking about the 1999 cult classic, But I'm a Cheerleader. It's directed by Jamie Babbitt, who worked on similar movies. Brief plot summary, it's about a girl whose parents suspect she's gay, so they sent her to a conversion therapy camp, and hijinks ensue. It's a satire. It's not. Both the director and the writer, I believe, are LGBT, and yeah, it's meant to, I guess, satirize homophobia in the LGBT community in a similar way of a Mel Brooks type movie.
I love how you summarized the movie without once saying cheerleader. As in, like, it has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, her being a
Despite
cheerleader.
being the title
Yeah,
of
it
the
kind of
movie.
doesn't really have anything to do with the subject matter.
It's
Yeah.
only in the beginning and at the end where there's actual cheerleading stuff involved.
Yeah, it's like a bookend. I guess a bit background on the movie. Babbitt, her parents ran a house that helped people with alcohol and drug-related issues. They basically ran a 12-step program. So that's where she got kind of the framework of how to work on it. I mentioned earlier that both the director and writer are gay. The writer is a gay man while the director is a gay woman. So they both had, I guess, both perspectives going into the movie. The writer had a bit more experience with therapy because he worked at a prison clinic for sex workers, and he specifically said he wants to make a movie that would entertain people, but also make people angry and talk about the issues it raised. So it was literally designed for discussion. So
And
that's pretty good.
mission accomplished, because
Yeah,
I actually talked to quite a few people about this movie after I watched it.
yeah, and we talked about it a little bit before this actually occurred. This podcast.
Mhm.
This is,
Um,
I think, out of all the movies that we've talked about so far, this is the one that we fear the most of being controversial.
I don't.
Yeah, because it's dealing with a big subject.
Yeah, because before it was like a superhero-esque movie,
A
crime.
gangster movie, another superhero
They've
movie,
they've mainly
another
been popcorn.
superhero
They've
movie.
mainly been popcorn flicks that we've talked about.
Yeah, with like slight dramatic edges.
Yeah.
I guess one more thing I want to mention is this movie was initially given an NC-17 rating at first because the MPAA is homophobic. Ratings board is the most bullshit part of the entertainment industry. You know, they say it's voluntary, but it's not actually voluntary. Also, the director went out of their way to cast people in color in an effort to combat racism, and RuPaul made a rare appearance out of drag for his role. He played Mike. I think I talked enough. Patrick, why don't you give your brief thoughts on the movie?
Okay.
You like it, you
Right.
dislike it, that kind of stuff.
What in the last podcast when you said that this is the movie you wanted to talk about next, I had never heard of this movie before. I mean, like with the other movies we talked about, I've been familiar with them, like Scott Pilgrim and Green Hornet. Even though I'd never seen Samurai Cop, I had at least heard of it in some way. I have never heard of But I'm a Cheerleader before, and I did not know what to expect going in. And like looking at the people involved in this movie, like Jamie Babbitt and who was the writer again?
I don't think I mentioned the name. It's Brian Wayne Peterson.
Yeah, him. Those
Uh,
names didn't look familiar. Nobody in the cast looked familiar. The only thing that looked familiar that I recognized was Lionsgate.
the writer, he worked on Smallville, if you heard of that show.
Heard of it, never seen it.
Okay.
Never
But
heard of it.
basically, I only knew the movie company going in, and I'm like, all right, let's see what we got. I watched
Did
this
you
movie.
like it?
I watched this movie. I'm getting to that. I watched this movie twice before this podcast because it's quite a different movie than what we previously talked about, and I being about a big thing, I didn't know what to think of it. And after watching this movie, building up to all this, what is my opinion? I can summarize my opinion of this movie in 4 words. I don't get it. I'll go more in detail as we go on, but I did not get this movie.
All right. Well, I guess I'm a bit on the opposite end because I think this is the best movie we've talked about on the podcast so far. This is the one I like the most out of
Really?
everything. Yeah.
Hmm.
I like let's say I guess Scott Pilgrim like an 8. This is like an 8.5, just like slightly edges it out.
I guess that makes sense too, because he didn't really talk high praises about The Departed either.
I think The Departed is like one of Scorsese's worst movies. It's an unpopular opinion, I know, but yeah.
All right, Lugia, what'd you think?
I guess I'm kind of the middle ground between you guys. I liked it, but this movie was very predictable with its message. It worked well with the subject matter and how they conveyed it, but at the same time, you could kind of tell where it all leads to.
Yeah. I feel like it's predictable now, but in 1999, people were still pretty homophobic, so maybe they're like, "Oh my god,
That is
a
true,
happy
yeah.
ending." So I guess going more detail into my thoughts, I think this is a really smart satire. Like, I'm a really big fan of satire and comedy. It sometimes can be a bit iffy. Sometimes people will watch it and be like, "Oh, what the fuck?" They'll think it's endorsing what it's actually making fun of. But and I guess in this situation that kind of happened. But I think it handled the situation with comedy pretty well and mocked homophobes. But it still doesn't pretend it's some cute innocuous thing. I remember there was this one like Holocaust satire once, and a lot of
Jojo
people
Rabbit? No, I know that's World War II.
not Jojo Rabbit, some other one. I think like an older one. But I remember it got praised, but a lot of like people were like, "Oh, I think it makes concentration camps seem like a cute innocuous thing." I don't think this movie did that. I think it still showed like all the characters struggle and pain and all that, but it still just handled the situation with comedy.
I still
I
think
don't
it
think
was a
it
bold
handled it too
attempt to
much.
tackle something like this,
Yeah,
regardless. Especially for the time.
Patrick, why don't you go into I guess more of the details so I can because I feel like we have conflicting opinions there. I feel like it'd be good for us to talk.
Okay, when I say I don't get it, here's what I mean. I understand what the movie's trying to do. I understand what it's trying to say about homophobia and how homophobia is dumb. And I understand the different things that it's trying to say within this movie and present, exaggerate. But the big reason why I don't get this movie is because I don't understand what's supposed to be funny. I mean, there are some scenes that are funny, but most of the time I'm just asking myself, why am I supposed to find this funny? Like, for example, there's the whole thing about how whenever the kids have like a sexual thought, they need to shock themselves, and that's played up for laughs. But I don't understand why that's supposed to be funny. That just seems really cruel.
Yeah, so I think the reason you might not find funny is because it seems you didn't know what a conversion therapy camp was before.
I don't know what I didn't know that conversion therapy camps were a thing until I saw this movie.
Yeah, okay, so I think that's what
I
I
don't know how
thought.
uneducated I am, but I do not remember ever learning about them.
Yeah, to be fair, I never learned them in like school or anything. I just knew them because I watched the news a lot when I was like in middle school. But
Same here.
yeah,
They never really taught me stuff like that in school. Just I had to find
yeah,
that out on my own.
Is the
yeah,
shock thing a real thing that they do in conversion therapy?
I
yeah.
don't
Shock therapy is
believe
a real thing.
no, I don't
Yeah,
believe they do it in therapy camps, but I think people do it regardless.
it's done in regardless, but conversion therapy camps do it. I want to make it guys very clear. Conversion therapy camp is incredibly cruel. In many cases, this movie, it's fucked up. Yeah, it's really fucked up. Conversion therapy camp. I think I first heard about it because my dad showed it to me, but I remember like seeing an episode of South Park on it once. Shock therapy is very much a real thing that they do in conversion therapy camps.
Why am I supposed to find it funny? This movie whenever they shock themselves, because it's usually played up for a laugh, but I just don't. Why is that funny? Why is it funny watching
It's
someone
more of like
shock
it's
themselves?
supposed to find it absolutely ridiculous that they think this methodology would work at all. I guess
I
It
it's
mean,
kind
I
of
just
get
hard
it.
to
Dark humor is
explain.
not really for everybody. I can see what you mean by that.
I mean, I've
Yeah, see,
liked
talking
dark
about
humor
that,
fine in the past, but I this just seems cruel because it's like a real thing.
I guess like I guess the trouble with satire is that sometimes it's kind of hard to talk about as funny because people are like, oh, that's horrible. Why would you find that funny? I'm like, it's hard to explain, but I do think it's funny because it's almost like I never felt the joke was on the actual kids. I thought it was more of like almost absurdist humor. Like this is absolutely ridiculous. What they're doing is completely pointless, and yet they still think it's gonna be right. It's like feels almost like an Abbott and Costello routine almost at times, where it's like, oh, no one's listening to me. This is very clearly stupid, but everyone thinks I'm crazy for saying it's stupid. That happens a
I
couple times even in the
I
movie.
like I like ridiculous over the top comedy. I love Airplane. I love a lot of the Mel Brooks movies, but I guess because this is based on a real thing that's very serious, I just can't really find the humor in it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, the Mel Brooks comedies, they also talk about a very real subject matter. Blazing Saddles is incredibly real. It's just, I guess it's not as prevalent as an issue, so it doesn't seem as bad. But like back in the '60s, when Blazing Saddles came out, or wait, was Blazing Saddles the '60s? Let me double check.
I think that was the 70s. Yeah, I'm
Okay,
pretty
so
sure it was the 70s.
it was the '70s, but still, race relations was incredibly different in the '70s than it is now. And even then, it's not that great now. Because we're not as far away from like, because like Blazing Saddles, that was just like 5 years after the civil rights movement. This is like not that far away from when gay marriage became accepted widely. Yeah, it's gonna be come off a bit different to us.
Well, the shock therapy wasn't the only thing that I didn't really understand why I was supposed to laugh at it. There's also a few scenes in this movie, like the scene where the parents first come in and they're basically talking about the root of where they think they're gay from.
Oh, right.
Okay, well
And
that one
like
isn't
the parents are like
exactly supposed to be
calling these
funny.
kids like really terrible things and
Yeah, yeah,
everything.
that scene wasn't meant to be funny.
Well, there
I
were
mean,
there were
there were
there were a
jokes
few
in the
yeah, there were
scene,
a few attempts, but
but like
I don't
the
understand.
core of that scene was actually meant to be like, oh, this is deeply messed up, because that's another real thing. Like, because I guess we're in a very accepting community, so it's a bit different. But like in a lot of places, particularly the religious right South, because this is meant to satirize the religious right, they just don't get what being gay is like. They just think that it's not correct. They view it the same as I don't know, a teenage rebellion, and they treat it as such, even though it's very clearly not that. And that seems all supposed to imply it, just the parents just refusing to accept it. I do kind of like how at the ending, the main character Megan's parents, in the end, they're the ones that end up accepting their kid. That's
Why
not
was
even
why was the
that's not even
mother
common.
why was the mother like in disguise during that? The
I
very
mean,
last scene in the movie,
I
the parents are like, "Hi, I am so and so, and
listen, the
like
parent.
I accept that my kid is gay." And
I mean,
like the dad said that, but the mother was like sitting down and she was like in disguise. What was
yeah.
that about?
out of embarrassment.
Okay, guys,
I
I feel
don't
it's pretty
exactly remember that last
straightforward.
scene very well.
Okay, I'm really confused. I feel like this is pretty
The mother
straightforward
didn't
as a joke.
because the mother didn't sugarcoat anything.
They're still homophobe. Like the ending was showing that like the parents are starting to get a bit better, starting to accept their kids being gay, but like they still sent their kid to virgin therapy camp, so they're still a bit homophobic, and the mother's like
They
clearly
said that they wouldn't take her
doesn't
back
want to be
in if
seen.
she didn't complete like the thing. Then she'd be on her own. That
Yeah,
was terrible.
yeah, and that's a real thing that happens. Okay, I feel like you're confusing what parts are supposed to be funny, what parts aren't, because that one
'Cause
wasn't meant to be funny at all. The parents not.
that's the thing. I don't understand what in this movie I'm supposed to take seriously and what I'm supposed to take as a joke.
I guess more of just the ridiculousness of the actual situation, but the actual. All right, how do I put this? Okay, so you know how in Tropic Thunder,
Never
the
seen
black.
Tropic Thunder.
All right, let me think of another. Okay, let's just look at Blazing Saddles. We've all seen Blazing Saddles, right?
Blazing Saddles is one of those
No.
movies that like I've seen half of it, but I've never seen the other half of it.
All right, Jesus, have
I've
you seen the
I've I've,
producers?
I've seen Blazing Saddles like up until Gene Wilder appears. I've never
All
seen
right, so
past
you've
that.
seen like none of Blazing Saddles. All right, Gene Wilder's like the second main character, man.
I just remember the scene where like they're talking and like he's like, I shoot with this hand, and this one is stiff as a board. And I
Do
haven't
you
seen the producers, so
So you
don't
guys have
even
like,
bother.
so do you guys have any experience watching satire? Because I think this
Uh,
is a pretty straightforward satire, but looks like you guys never even seen this genre.
I,
Oh my
I,
god.
I don't know.
That is a very
Like
good question.
nothing immediately springs to my mind.
All right. Have you seen Borat at least?
No.
No.
Fucking hell, man! Come on. Uh, all
We
right.
could do this. We could do this all day. Just can you explain this like without a comparison, or is that like really difficult?
It's kind of difficult without comparison. Let's see.
Well, I
South Park, maybe. Have you seen South Park?
I've seen
I've
a
seen
few episodes of South Park.
yeah, I've seen a few episodes.
All right. So you know how like in South Park, often everyone would be crazy except Stan and Kyle, and like everyone would treat Stan and Kyle kind of like they're the ones that are nuts. That's kind of what like is going on here. Where like everyone is sort of like an idiot except like Graham or Megan or things like that, where they're more meant to be like the straight man in the situation. No pun intended. Okay, how do I do this? You know how we talked earlier how like the director ran a 12-step program?
Yeah.
Hmm?
That's basically what the joke is almost. Like what if conversion therapy was like a 12-step program and they treated it like alcoholism, even though that's very clearly not what it is, but like the whole time that's what that's what the social commentary is meant to be, that people treat homosexuality like it's something like alcoholism or drug addiction, where it's just like something you can kick if you try hard enough. And this movie is kind of meant to say that's stupid, and it's showing how like almost every single step is ridiculous. Like it's kind of funny that people actually think that this is possible, and the joke is almost like you're making fun of the actual program rather than the characters. I mean, you're making fun of the person that runs the camp, but like we're almost making fun of how in denial it is. Like her son Rock, the most blatantly flamboyantly gay person ever, and yet she's in constant denial about it, even though her son on multiple occasions just does the most stereotypically gay stuff. And there's also a joke with RuPaul's character. He was like, I was once a gay, and you can very clearly tell that he is still very much gay and he's just hiding it. And like the whole joke is like, oh, it's stupid that he's denying it. I think almost every character in this, none of them graduate. They all end up getting kicked out of the program or they run away at the end because
Oh, a few of them graduate.
We only see Megan and Graham run away.
well, there was another one.
Right. The other two guys
Yeah,
near the end
yeah,
of the movie. I forgot their name.
yeah, I don't remember their names either.
Yeah. But yeah, Dolph
Only two people
usually
got
supposed
kicked
to
out.
Satan. Two people got kicked out, and but they got everyone else out. Well, I mean, a couple people got kicked out earlier in the movie too, but we don't see what happens to them. But like Megan and Dolph, those are the two that get kicked out, and they return at the end. And Dolph easily coaxes Clayton away, and then Megan gets Graham to leave. And let's see, there's Rock, which is the daughter. I mean, the son of
Son,
yeah, Rock, the son. Who, I mean, there's only like 4 or 5 characters really in the camp anyway, so like basically all of them leave. Trying to think, is there anyone that doesn't? Jan maybe? What happens to Jan?
which one was Jan again?
She was a kind of goth one, I think.
Oh yeah, her. I I don't remember.
I don't even remember a lot of the other. Uh,
Yeah.
Guess since we're on characters, we might as well talk about the cast.
Yeah. Okay. I guess one of my few flaws with the movie is I don't think the acting's very good.
Yeah,
That's what makes it.
I feel like overall the acting is fine, nothing outstanding, and a few points. Some performances, like especially the main girl Megan, I feel like she's a bit wooden at times.
Yeah.
But
I feel
overall, I
like
thought it was fine.
sometimes it works in like a Wes Anderson way, because Wes Anderson he gets a lot of wooden performances, but sometimes like that's part of the joke. Like it's funny because it's so stilted. So sometimes I worked here, but sometimes it just felt not good.
I did like
Um,
what's her name? Kathy Moriarty. I don't know if that's how you pronounce that. She played Mary in the movie. I think she was the best actress in the film.
The one who ran the place.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought she was
I thought I
the
saw
best
her in
performance.
something else, but I looked
Yeah,
through
same here.
her
Kathy
catalog on
Moriarty, who's that?
IMDb and I don't recognize any of the movies or TV shows she was in.
In here, she looks so familiar, but I don't recognize anything she's been in.
But who's Kathy Moriarty? I don't see that in the cast list at all.
It's right there, the last one.
Oh, okay, Mary Brown. Yeah, I think she did a good job.
Everyone
But
else
interestingly,
was, as you put it,
I felt
pretty wooden.
I felt Kimberly was pretty good. Not wait, it was Kimberly. Who was the main love interest?
Graham?
Graham.
Graham.
I think Graham was pretty good. Yeah, I think
Like I said,
Graham.
I think the performances overall were fine, but like nothing like especially stands out. I mean, I like the Mary who runs the place, but other than that, it's just fine.
I don't even remember who Kimberly was.
I will say, like you said, I do appreciate the diversity in the cast.
Yeah, they won. That was a conscious effort.
That's well appreciated.
They were gonna have a couple big names in here, like Graham's character is originally gonna be played by Rosario Dawson, but they decided to go with this other character, other actress instead. And Arsenio Hall was gonna play Mike, but he did not feel comfortable playing that role in this kind of movie. So they got RuPaul instead, who made a very rare appearance out of drag, which I think I already said. All right, never mind. All this has shown me is that I definitely need to recommend more satire in the future. What the fuck, guys?
Well,
I don't
I'm
know.
sorry.
I think it's the
what
fact
can
that
I
it's a
say?
very
I know. It's just god
it's
It's the
damn.
very
fact that
serious subject matter, and we're
Yeah.
kind of uncomfortable talking about it.
Can we get back on track?
I don't think we
Sat-
discussed our dislikes yet.
I mentioned I didn't like the acting very much. That was really it.
I felt
I
like the
think
message
production.
of be who you want to be was kind of on the nose. I mean, it is a good moral, but at the same time, the movie presented it so much to where I was like, yeah, I get it. And I
Yeah,
didn't really gain anything from that afterwards.
yeah. I get why they hammered it in though, because again, you never saw movies like this in 1999. In fact, she specifically even mentioned that this was meant for teenage girls, because even the few times we do get LGBT movies is not from a female perspective in at this time period.
True.
well, I feel like I've thoroughly given my thoughts about what I didn't like, or rather, what I didn't understand in this movie. But if I can give compliment anywhere, I will say that I do really like the overall way that this film is presented, because as soon as she gets to the place, it very much feels like it turns into one of those educational movies you'd watch in health class, right down to like title cards and the font text.
Yeah, I like
Even
that too.
even the music and the production design, it feels like very much like a movie you'd watch in school. Like I remember in middle school, in health class, I watched a movie about like the do's and don'ts of babysitting, and it was very cheesy. Like this girl is babysitting this kid, and she's visited by like this wizard who gives her a baseball hat. It's just very corny. It kind of reminded me of that.
I think I saw that too. I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
I really liked that. I thought that was a really neat way to convey this.
Yeah, that was
Um,
good, but what I didn't like was a lot of the set design. It was a
see
little
that's
too bright, and it kind of reminded me of the 2003 Cat in the Hat movie. And this is a personal problem, but that movie gave me PTSD.
I really like the set design. It reminded me of Wes Anderson and Tim Burton personally. But yeah, I can see where you're coming from. If
Well, Luke, yeah, I feel like the cheesy set design is part of the point, because again, going back to those educational films, they are really corny, and the colors in those tend to be really exaggerated. So I
True.
feel like this was just trying to emphasize that.
yeah, this was
And yeah,
I think
the
this is
color
more trying to emphasize like how much they're trying to sugarcoat the horrible thing they're doing. Like, oh, haha, everything's all pink, so it can't be disgusting.
Yeah, they're trying to make it innocent, like it's the right thing.
Like
yeah,
like the characters in the universe are trying to do that.
Yeah.
yeah, the color palette of this movie, like the first 8 minutes is completely like muted in like UPS brown. Like everything, like the houses are brown, the colors are brown, the cars are brown, even the food is brown. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
I didn't.
Food, like when she's first brought in, like when guy comes in, I think RuPaul's character it was, and she's asked to sit down. You can see on the table there's like a plate full like of like brown cookies or something, like other brown stuff, and I'm like, this is really really muted and brown. But then when she gets to the place, yeah, it's drenched in shades of pink and green straight out of the Cat in the Hat. It's like a complete 180 in the color palette.
Oh wait, Natasha Lyonne played Smokey Quartz in Steven Universe?
Yeah.
Huh, didn't know that.
I haven't seen enough of Steven Universe, but I thought that would be an interesting footnote to put in there.
I have seen the entire series. Very mixed on it. It's got terrible pacing, like ridiculously bad pacing.
I've only
But
seen the
there's some good
first
moments.
season.
I've only seen like the first few episodes when it started airing, and then I tried to get into it again when I realized it was actually a really big show. It
Yeah,
had a really big fandom.
I'm not really sure I'd recommend it personally. It's like not an amazing series. I know Patrick, you're a fan of what Star Versus, right?
Yeah, that's a show I keep meaning to watch again. I'll probably watch it on Disney Plus.
Yeah, so you know how a lot of people say that show got bad around season 3, season 4.
Mm-hmm.
Steven Universe never quite had a jump the shark moment, but I think like it kept kind of slowly, steadily getting a bit worse as it went along. So yeah, and again, the pacing was always a problem. They have so much filler; it's ridiculous. We got way off topic there.
We always go way off topic with these things.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
that's how podcasts usually work.
Speaking of filler,
so I guess my final thoughts. I give it like an 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was good. Maybe I'll recommend satires in the future, lighter satires in the future to maybe ease you into it next time. I don't know. Election's a pretty good movie. You might like that. It's got Reese Witherspoon,
Like Reese Witherspoon.
yeah, and Matthew Broderick. I mean,
Well,
they're horrible people, but you know, still.
later down the line when you pick the next movie, we'll do
Yep.
that, I guess.
So yeah. What's your final score, Lugia?
I'd say this is a 7 out of 10 for me. I definitely enjoyed it. I think this is better than Green Hornet because there's a message behind it. It's more entertaining. But it's definitely for mature audiences. And I don't think the message that this movie provides is going to jive with a lot of people, even if it is for satirical purposes. And again, it was a little too on the nose for it. It's definitely better than a lot of other movies that do something similar, like Christian movies.
Well, I mean, Christian movies are not exactly pro LGBT, you know.
No, but they kind of have a similar thing where they have their message and they just hammer it in you. And most of them are pretty shitty. I've yet to
Yeah.
see a good one.
Yeah, I'd say this one. I feel like it kind of does try to satirize Christian movies too, with the way it's presented. Like you mentioned, how it feels like a cheesy like after school special.
Mhm.
I feel like it does kind of a lot of after school specials I've seen always had like a very very clear Christian edge to it. You know, Ronald Reagan-y type politics. We can talk about Ronald Reagan some other day. um, but
When
yeah,
the situation calls for it, or when the movie calls for it.
yeah.
That is a very situational topic, though.
And I guess, what is your score, Patrick?
If I had to give it a score, I'd give it like a 6, I guess. But I really don't feel like I should score this movie because I just don't
Yeah,
really feel like
I
this
get
is
it.
a movie for me.
That's
Like,
fine.
Yeah,
I understand what it's trying to do, but I didn't really get the humor, and I just didn't really know what to think of a lot of it. I mean, there were some amusing moments. There were a few laughs, but overall, I just didn't feel like this was a movie for me.
all right. So I guess we'll go into movies that are kind of similar. So, if you like the movie, some other stuff you can check out is there is a musical play adaptation. So if you ever get the chance, I don't know, maybe that'd be neat. Tangerine, I believe that's directed by the guy who made the Florida Project, Sean Baker. Then there's Pink Flamingos and the other works of John Waters. A lot of people in the LGBT community compares this movie to the work of John Waters, who is basically a tentpole in LGBT cinema. Pink Flamingos is probably his most famous work, so that's the one I'm gonna say. Visually and in some parts the humor is kind of similar to Wes Anderson. I was thinking particularly Moonrise Kingdom because that one's got a bit of a romantic angle and a coming of age thing to it. Maybe Love Simon, cause and Call Me by Your Name. Those are probably the two most popular LGBT movies in the last 10 years.
They're the most recent. They're the most recent
Yeah.
ones. Call Me by Your Name was
Um,
2017. Love Simon was 2018.
I'd say eighth grade because it's got a very awkward angle and it's got female leads, so there's some parallels there.
Is that the
Very
Bo Burnham
uncomfortable
one?
movie though. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's a very uncomfortable movie though. A lot more uncomfortable than this one. I saw some people compare it to The Craft and Girl Interrupted. I have never seen those movies though, so I wouldn't know. Clueless. I don't know. Set design kind of reminded me of it a bit. And Ghost World because that's also female-led, awkward, coming of age, similar quirky-ish humor. I'm not the biggest fan of Ghost World personally. Like I kind of like it, but I really think a lot of the characters in there are pieces of shit, and not in a way where it's like funny for me. But a lot of people like Ghost World, so I don't know. Some people might enjoy it. I mean, I like Ghost World too. I don't think it's as good as other people think. All right. Anyway, so we didn't talk about movie news at the beginning, so briefly, anyone see Snyder's Justice League?
No, I just
Nope.
know that came out.
All
Didn't
right,
even see the theatrical cut.
don't watch the theatrical cut. It's terrible. It's a horrible movie. The theatrical cut. This cut's pretty good though. I recommend it. I don't even like Batman v Superman, but I like this one. Let's see. Falcon Winter Soldier came out, but I have not heard anyone talk about it. I think it's okay. Whatever. Not as cool as WandaVision. You finished WandaVision, by the way,
I
Patrick?
did.
What'd you think of the ending? I thought it was kind of disappointing.
The ending was all right.
Yeah, I like the Vision stuff. Let's see. The Oscar nominations came out. Not very different from Golden Globes, so nothing worth. The Grammys happened. A bunch of people are very outraged at Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion again.
Oh
Fitting
my
because
god.
I feel like they're the same people that'd be upset about this movie.
That was quite a thing. And this is live television.
Yeah, I find it very funny that The Weeknd desperately wants a Grammy and Billie Eilish really does not want them, and yet they keep giving her them and they keep not giving him them. Ironic. Let's see. Someone made an article about promising a young woman becoming the female Joker, being the
Ah,
female.
one movie that
Uh,
I haven't seen compared to another movie that I haven't seen.
they're both good, but they both have flaws.
I don't tell people I haven't seen Joker because I'm afraid of the reactions I'll get. I will watch it one day.
I
I
have
will
the
watch it one
movie.
day. You have it?
And let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, both. Well, I mean, me and Lugia saw it together in the theaters.
I know.
Yeah, I also
You
have the
invited me to
DVD.
you invited me to go with
Oh,
you
you
guys,
got
but
it on DVD.
I was busy when it came out, so I couldn't. I think I had like a test or something that I had to review for.
Let's see. Last movie news, I guess, is Elliot Page was on Time Magazine.
What
So
for?
I have no idea. Probably for some LGBT thing. Just felt it was relevant because of the topic.
Because yeah, all right.
She's trans. It was him talking about his identity and stuff. I guess that's another one I put Juno. Juno, that's kind of got similar vibes to this movie. I'd put that as a
I want to
similar.
watch Juno again.
Yeah,
I brought that up when we talked about Scott Pilgrim.
I saw it last year. Some parts aged really poorly, but some parts are all right.
I've not seen it.
I especially wonder how that movie is with what's going on with Elliot Page right now.
Yeah.
I wonder how it is watching it with
Oh, I'm gonna
in
recommend.
present day.
I'm gonna recommend Super one day because that movie is really fucking weird.
Super or super bad?
Super, like
What is super?
it's the James Gunn superhero movie. Rainn Wilson plays a superhero.
Uh,
Elliot Page is the sidekick.
Maybe if I
Yeah,
saw like a poster or something, I'd recognize it. But off the top of my head, that does not sound familiar.
it's a weird movie. I wouldn't be surprised if you never heard of it. Honestly, I'll put it
All right,
on.
so I assume Lugia picks the next movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
What do you got in
Red
mind?
and I talked about this for a little bit yesterday, but I was thinking about recommending Memento. I know we've all seen it before, but it's been a while since him and I have seen it, like a couple of years ago, actually.
Isn't
Yep.
that the Christopher Nolan movie?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Ah,
And
yes. My dad loves that movie, and I've never seen it.
oh, okay,
Really?
good. Yeah.
I mean, I know the big thing of how it's structured, but like I've never seen it.
Yeah. I
So
really
that
like
should be
that.
interesting.
That's
Yeah.
probably one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
top 10. Damn. I really love it too, but I don't love it that much.
I mean, that's the
Then
beauty of
again,
opinions.
I'm the
Yeah.
guy who loves The Room unironically.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of movies I like more. When whatever your Discord server, and we talk about those movies there, I'm like, man, I completely disagree with how the ranking is for the good movies.
All right, so
Do you
Cool,
think Pulp Fiction should
Memento.
not be at the top of the tier list then?
Ooh, that's a tough. I think Hot Fuzz just slightly edges it out. I think both are 10 out of 10s, but Hot Fuzz is like top 5 favorite movies.
There's another movie we could talk about though.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I feel like I want to space out the Edgar Wright stuff because his style is
Well, that
very
and Pulp
distinct.
Fiction.
Oh yeah, Pulp Fiction.
Uh,
There's a lot of
Mostly
movies.
it's that
We'll get
you,
to a good amount of them, I'm sure.
yeah, but mostly I think Always Famous is like Almost Famous is a great movie, and you guys just put it as a good for
What
shame.
movie? What movie?
Almost
Almost
Famous.
Famous. Yeah, they saw the 2 hour cut though. I saw the like full 3 hour version.
Why does that sound familiar? Almost Famous.
Because it's a pretty famous movie,
Oh,
pretty almost famous movie.
oh yeah. I recently heard about this movie because didn't like one of the stars of it pass away not too long ago?
Jesus, I don't think so. Almost Famous is the one about rock music. It's on IMDb TV if you guys want to check it out one day on your own time.
I already
Not
have the
for this,
DVD
though.
for it.
Billy Crudup, Kate Hudson, Jason Lee. No, they're all alive. Zoe Deschanel.
I swear I heard somebody in that movie passed away.
Philip Seymour Hoffman passed away, but he passed away like years ago.
Yeah, but I mean this is recent. This is recent. Or maybe I'm being really dumb and thinking of something else, but
Philip Seymour passed away. Hoffman passed away in 2014.
yeah, but I mean like within the past few months.
I don't know. Did Jimmy Fallon pass away?
Oh,
For Ruse the Bank?
Jimmy Fallon is alive and kicking. I'm looking through the cast right now. I'm trying to see.
Hey Jimmy, if
I'm-
you're listening to this, retire. Your show's not funny. You seem like a very nice person. Retire though. Your show sucks. Actually, every late night host retire except Conan. I like you, Conan. Conan O'Brien, Brian, and Graham Norton. You guys can stay. You're cool.
So I guess we're gonna be doing Memento then.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Memento. No objections here.
Memento. All right, so that should be quite an interesting watch.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, real quick before we end this, Lugia, what streaming services do you have?
Netflix, and that's it.
That's okay.
I guess unless
And
you count YouTube as
Piracy.
well.
I'm gonna say
Memento
I already
isn't
put
on
in this
YouTube
one.
the last I checked, nor Netflix.
It's on IMDb TV, which is free. So
Okay.
just go on imdb.com and it'll just pop up on Memento. It'll say watch free on IMDb TV. There'll be ads, but you can just have an ad blocker and it'll be fine. So if you click that
Alright.
link, it'll say watch free on IMDb TV.
Okay,
Nominated for 2 Oscars.
Also, before we wrap up, I just want to say something. We're probably not going to be doing this for more than 13 or 14 episodes, unless you two want to keep going with this.
I don't know.
I'm actually having fun.
Yeah, no, I think we should just keep this going. Whenever.
Okay. So if we pass that threshold, I'll allow movie recommendations from YouTube comments. But for now, if we're not really jiving with the whole thing, and when we get past that mark and we want to stop, we're not going to take any recommendations. It's just going to be us recommending to each other what we want to discuss next time.
Yeah.
Alright.
We'll see
think
though. We have like 9 more episodes of this podcast to do before we get there.
Anyway, Patrick, you're next week. It's your recommendation.
I
next
know,
week.
and I have a few movies circling through my mind. I just don't know which one I want to pick out first.
Yep. All right. Cool. So you can stop the recording now.
All right. Thank you everybody for watching, and next time we will be talking about Memento, which is a very less controversial subject.
Yes. I mean, kinda.
We'll see you then.